Hi gang, and welcome to the 12 Days of Chiropractic. On behalf of Vanessa and I would like to first of all thank you for 2013 and for your loyalty and support to our practice. Without you, we aren't able to share our message. We look forward to 2014 to bring you a whole lot more information and continue to care of yourself and your families. So the idea of the 12 Days of Chiropractic stemmed from our wish to share more of the knowledge that we've acquired over the years. And so I thought, what a great gift to give to you guys some of that knowledge. And so what's going to happen over the next 12 days is we're going to share health tips with to do with exercise, nutrition, dealing with stress, finding out what's important to you. And hopefully by the end of it you'll have a really good grasp as to things that you can do to help yourself and your families overcome health challenges or and in particular getting through this Christmas period. It's interesting, Christmas is about a time of celebration and joy and spending with family and friends and people we love, and we do sometimes feel like we've just got to get through it, and it kind of misses the point in a lot of ways, because it should be celebrated, not something to get through. So part of the videos will also be to explore ways that you can cope with things better. It's often a time of high stress, financial stresses, time commitments, and going on holidays and this type of thing. So that is our plan and our hope for you over these next 12 days, that you will start to get some tips and guides to help you really celebrate and enjoy what should be a fabulous time of year. But first of all, what we're going to do today, our first topic is going to be on understanding stress and what it does to the body. Now the reason we're starting with stress is because it is the thing that defines our health. Everything that when we are unwell is due to a type of stress. And in understanding what stress does to the body will also help us make steps forward to make sure that we're doing as much as we can for ourselves to eliminate the sometimes devastating effects of stress. So what is stress? Well, in our minds, we all associate stress with this negative feeling, this overwhelming, this sense of anxiety. Now what I wanted to first say is that stress is neither good nor bad. In fact, it can be both. And the stress that we mainly think about is bad stress. But an example of good stress is like exercise. We go for a run, or we do some weights, or we play some sport, and that puts some good stress on our body that's healthy. It makes us feel vibrant, and in small doses we can really deal with that, and it helps us become better in ourselves and in our health. But what we're really going to talk about today is the bad stress, and most of us, that's what we associate with. So a good stress is an acute stress response. So this is something that happens, as we talked about with exercise, where it just happens for a short amount of time in small bursts, and our body changes things physiologically inside. For the example of exercise, we go for a run, our heart rate increases, our blood pressure increases to allow the blood to flow around a little quicker, to allow oxygen to get to our muscles, so we can deal with the exertion. But the bad stress is what we call chronic, which is long-term stress. And to give you a good example of the difference between the two, and actually what happens, we're going to use the example of being chased by a dog down the street. So in the example of an acute stress response, if I was walking down the street, or you, and a dog was chasing us and we wanted to get out of there, what would happen to our bodies physiologically inside? Well, I've already mentioned a couple of the things, which was our heart rate would increase and our blood pressure would increase. Also, our respiratory rate would increase. The breakdown of energy stores inside our body, so breakdown of sugars and fat that we've already stored inside would come out, so we could have more energy to get away and get that exertion that we need at that time. But other things that happen, things down-regulate, things that we don't require in that situation. And these are things like our immune system. We don't need to fight off infection while we're being chased by a dog. Our sex organs, they down-regulate, which means that it'd be harder to reproduce because it's not necessary in that scenario. So these are a couple of the things that kind of happen while we are in this acute stress response. But once we get through that acute stress response, it leads to this more chronic state if we stay in this state. So the example would be if the dog continually chased us day in, day out, where there wasn't a let up. What would happen physiologically then? Well, the same things would happen, but they wouldn't stop. In the case of the acute stress response, after we've got away from the dog, everything regulates again. Our blood pressure, our respiratory rate, our blood pressure come down. Our immune system and our sex organs, the things that are down-regulated, come back and we are working better again. So in this chronic stress state, where it's happening to us continuously, we can find that a lot of these physiological changes are going to stay. Now, if I said to you that your blood pressure was going to stay up continuously because of the stress on your body, how do you think that would affect your health? Well, when you consider things like cardiovascular disease being the number one illness and killer of Australians, it's not hard to see that perhaps stress maybe play a part, or almost the most significant part, in that process. And the other lifestyle diseases we have cancer, diabetes is very prevalent now, and a lot of respiratory disorders. So our stresses, our ongoing stresses, are the things that will lead us to these states of ill health. So what are these stresses that are placed upon our body? Well, in our day-to-day life, we're not being chased by our dogs, are we? The things that we're experiencing are things like financial stresses, workplace stresses, sedentary stresses where we don't move enough because we work at an office, dealing with children, dealing with family members, not eating the right foods often enough, not getting enough water in. So our stresses can be not just these obvious I'm in danger type of stresses, but it can be this build-up. And there are three types of stresses that are placed upon the body. And these are mental emotional stresses, they're physical stresses, and they're biochemical stresses, which is basically having a high toxicity in the body and low nutrition. Over the next 3 days, we're going to explore these three types of stresses, and we're going to give you tips about how to deal with them in the short term over the Christmas period, but also going forward. So through today's video, we hope you can understand that stress is not just a mental thing, it's not just the financial pressures and the worries, the relationship stresses, it's a whole heap of things. It's the things we put in our body and the exercise that we do as well. We also want you to understand that continual stress, chronic stress, has long-term and sometimes quite devastating effects on our health. We start here because once we know this, we can start to take some steps forward to changing this. So, over the next 12 days, we're going to go over these topics. We're going to go over stress and we're going to how to deal with it. And then we're going to progress forward in looking at values and looking at what chiropractic does and how these things can help you. And at the end of this series, we're going to give you a free gift just for watching and for being such loyal members of Revive Chiropractic. I hope you've enjoyed the first video and we look forward to bringing you more over the next 12 days. I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Bye.